Hello friends, I'm Shantanu, your coach, and now we are going to cover the basic concepts of the GST. Before we start with the lecture, I just want to tell you that this is the basic lecture on GST. We have not started our syllabus. It is just before syllabus you have to go through this basic lecture on GST. The detailed lectures will be followed after this basic lecture. Further, this lecture will be helpful for all the students who are having GST as a part of their syllabus, as well as it will help the professionals dealing in GST as well as all the businessmen. Now we are starting our basic lecture, and to understand the GST concept fully, first we have to understand the taxation system in India, and for that we have to understand the types of government in India, and for this we have to understand the concept of India as well as we have to understand the constitution. Now if we talk about our constitution, that is the constitution of India, it talks about two sets of government. There are two sets of government. दो तरह की government इन्होंने prescribe की है constitution में. एक है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एंड दूसरी है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स, एंड दैट इज द रीजन वी कॉल इट अ फेडरल सिस्टम. दैट इज आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज फेडरल विथ सम यूनिटरी फीचर. इसका मतलब ये है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में पावर को डिवाइड किया है स्टेट लेवल पे और सेंट्रल लेवल पे. दैट इज द रीजन वी कॉल इट अ फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर. And unitary feature because there are certain power which are rest with the center. That is the reason we call our constitution is having a federal structure with some unitary features. So as per our constitution, there is one central government and there are 29 states which are controlled by respective state governments. Apart from this, there are 7 union territories also which are under the control of center. Now let's talk about power to levy the tax. Power to levy tax is given or prescribed under the constitution, and as per the constitution, government can levy the tax to discharge its function. Second thing which the constitution has mentioned, that no tax can be levied except the authority of law. इसका मतलब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को अगर कोई टैक्स लगाना है तो सबसे पहले इनको लॉ पास करना पड़ेगा, एंड आफ्टर पासिंग द लॉ these governments can levy the tax. Third thing you have to understand is that power to levy taxes is divided between the state and center. So there are few areas where the state governments can levy the tax, and there are certain areas where central government can levy the tax. For example, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटी के ऊपर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कैन लेवी द टैक्स, एंड फॉर दिस द गवर्नमेंट हैज पास द एक्साइज सेंट्रल एक्साइज एक्ट. सिमिलरली इंपोर्ट एंड एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर जो मटेरियल या गुड्स इंडिया में एंटर करते हैं उसको बोला जाता है इंपोर्ट, और जो इंडिया के बाहर जाते हैं उनको बोला जाता है एक्सपोर्ट. इसके ऊपर भी, इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास पावर है कि वो टैक्स लगा सकती है, और इसके लिए जो एक्ट पास किया है वो है कस्टम एक्ट. इसी तरह से वेरियस सर्विसेज के ऊपर भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट टैक्स लगा सकती है. फॉर दिस गवर्नमेंट हैज पास द एक्ट थ्रू फाइनेंस एक्ट 1994 में सर्विस टैक्स लगाया गया था पहली बार थ्रू फाइनेंस एक्ट 1994. फॉर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट देयर आर पावर गिवन टू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट टू लेवी द टैक्स ऑन सेल्स. दैट इज सेल्स ऑफ गुड्स का जहां तक सवाल है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास पावर है कि वो टैक्स लगा सकती है ऑन सेल ऑफ गुड्स. And to levy the sales tax, different state governments have passed their respective sales tax laws. So the bottom line is that government have power to levy the tax, and whatever revenue it generate by levying the taxes, such government spend this revenue to build infrastructure for the public. So it recovers the tax from the public and it spent this revenue for the public for infrastructure. Now the term infrastructure cover whole lot of things. For example, construction of roads, construction of dams, bridges, airports, इसके अलावा military, different government department, conservation of forest, rivers, etc. So huge a list is there. So all these are functions of the government which government need to discharge, and these can be discharged only by collecting the revenue in the form of tax. Further, the expert says that the taxation system also helps to remove the poverty and inequality. Although you cannot remove the poverty and inequality completely, but surely with proper tax system, the government will be able to reduce the level of poverty as well as the level of inequality. I am not going into the detail of this because we may get diverted from our basic topic of GST. Now let's come back on the distribution of power to levy the tax. ये बहुत ही important aspect है. अगर आपको GST अच्छे से समझना है तो GST के पहले का जो सिस्टम था वो आपको समझना पड़ेगा. So first we are going to see the power of center to levy the tax. सबसे पहला टैक्स है इसमें सर्विस टैक्स. If any person in India provide any taxable service to any other person, then this person who is providing the service was supposed to pay the service tax to the government. Now, as we have already seen that government cannot levy the tax without authority of law. तो law इन्होंने बनाया. Government has passed the Finance Act 1994 के थ्रू सर्विस टैक्स के प्रोविजन इंक्लूड किए गए थे, और as per these provision the person who provide taxable service was supposed to pay the service tax to the government. Now this service tax is no more because it has been subsumed by the GST. GST ने इसको absorb कर लिया, इसकी जगह आप single GST लगेगा. Now the second power of center to levy the tax was on manufacturing activity. Any person who manufacture anything in the territory of India was supposed to pay the excise duty. तो excise duty pay करना होती थी if anybody is supposed to manufacture or manufacture anything, then he was supposed to pay the excise duty to the government of India, and for this the government or the parliament has passed the excise law. Now, as I already mentioned, manufacturing आप इंडिया में अगर करते हैं, इंडिया इंक्लूडिंग 200 नॉटिकल माइल फ्रॉम द शोर लाइन, कहीं भी अगर आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटी करते हैं तो एक्साइज ड्यूटी देनी पड़ती थी. एक्साइज ड्यूटी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को जाती थी. ये ड्यूटी जो लगाई थी बाय वे ऑफ एक्साइज लॉ लगाई. यहां पर आप क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं कि अगर ये 200 नॉटिकल माइल्स के बाहर जाके अगर कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटी करता तो भी क्या एक्साइज ड्यूटी लगती? तो आंसर इज नो. अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग आपकी इंडिया के बाहर है तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पे एक्साइज ड्यूटी नहीं लगेगी, बट अगर ये मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करने के बाद आप वो गुड्स इंडिया में लेके आते हैं तो आपको इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी लग जाती एज पर दी कस्टम एक्ट. नाउ दिस एक्साइज ड्यूटी इज आल्सो रिप्लेस्ड बाय द GST. एक सिस्टम बनाया है GST, वन सिंगल टैक्स सिस्टम, उसमें एक्साइज ड्यूटी को भी कवर कर लिया है, तो अब अलग से एक्साइज ड्यूटी आपको नहीं लगेगी. Third power of center to levy the tax on import or export. तो import और export का मतलब है अगर आप इंडिया में कोई भी गुड्स बाहर से लाते, आयात करते हैं, तो ऐसे केस में आपको इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी देनी पड़ती थी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को. और देयर आर फ्यू केसेस, यानी थोड़े ही केसेस हैं जिसमें एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर, यानी आप इंडिया से बाहर सामान बेचते तो एक्सपोर्ट के केस में भी देयर आर वेरी फ्यू केसेस जिसके ऊपर आपको एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी देनी पड़ती थी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ। तो क्वेश्चन है कि क्या सर ये कस्टम ड्यूटी भी अब खत्म हो गई है और ये भी जीएसटी से रिप्लेस हो गई है? तो ध्यान से इसको समझ लेना, आंसर इज नो, और यू कैन से द आंसर इज पार्टली यस एंड पार्टली नो। द मेन कस्टम ड्यूटी, जो मेन कस्टम ड्यूटी थी वो इंटैक्ट है, यानी वो जीएसटी से रिप्लेस नहीं हुई है। आज भी अगर आप कोई गुड्स इंपोर्ट करते हैं तो यू आर सपोज टू पे द कस्टम ड्यूटी, दैट इज द इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी ऑन दोज गुड्स। हाउएवर, कस्टम में कुछ एडिशनल ड्यूटीज भी लगाई जाती थी इन ल्यू ऑफ सेल्स टैक्स एंड इन ल्यू ऑफ एक्साइज। तो इसका मतलब कस्टम एक्ट में कुछ एडिशनल ड्यूटीज भी लगती थी। पहली जो एडिशनल ड्यूटी थी उसको बोला जाता था CVD, इसका मतलब एडिशनल ड्यूटी ऑफ कस्टम इन ल्यू ऑफ एक्साइज, और दूसरी जो एडिशनल ड्यूटी थी दैट इज कॉल्ड स्पेशल एडिशनल ड्यूटीज ऑफ कस्टम, वो लगाई जाती थी इन ल्यू ऑफ सेल्स टैक्स, और उसको जो बोला जाता था SAD, दैट इज स्पेशल एडिशनल ड्यूटीज। तो अब ये जो एडिशनल ड्यूटीज थी ये क्यों लगाई जाती थी इसको समझ लीजिए। अगर कोई प्रोडक्ट है, कोई गुड्स है, वो इंडिया में अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होती है उसकी, तो उसके ऊपर एक्साइज ड्यूटी लगाई जाती है। बट अगर ये गुड्स इंपोर्ट किए जाते हैं तो उसके ऊपर एक्साइज ड्यूटी नहीं लगती थी, क्योंकि ये गुड्स मैन्युफैक्चर इंडिया में नहीं हुए थे, और इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट इनके ऊपर एक एडिशनल ड्यूटी लगाती थी इन ल्यू ऑफ एक्साइज, यानी जो एक्साइज ड्यूटी लगती अगर वो इंडिया में मैन्युफैक्चर होते तो उतना ही अमाउंट का वहां पर एडिशनल ड्यूटी ऑफ कस्टम लगती थी, जिसका नाम था काउंटर वेलिंग ड्यूटी, CVD। इसी तरह से जो गुड्स इंपोर्ट होते थे उनके ऊपर सेल्स टैक्स नहीं लग सकता था, और this is the reason to make a balance of these goods at par of other goods which are sold in the market of India. Government used to levy the special additional duty in lieu of sales tax. Now our basic question is whether custom duty is replaced by GST. So the answer is partly yes and partly no. The main custom duty will remain as it is. तो ये अभी भी लगेगी import duty as per the custom, but जो special additional duties हैं और additional duty of custom that is countervailing duty, ये दोनों duties अब नहीं लगेगी because it has been subsumed by the GST. It has been replaced by the GST. Now there was one more power to levy tax with the center, that is tax on income except agriculture income. तो जितनी भी persons इंडिया में इनकम अर्न करते हैं उसके ऊपर सेंटर के पास पावर थी कि वो टैक्स रिकवर कर सकती है उस इनकम पे, एंड दैट टैक्स वाज नोन एज इनकम टैक्स। ये इनकम टैक्स इंटैक्ट है, दिस इज अ डायरेक्ट टैक्स, और ये जीएसटी से रिप्लेस नहीं हुआ है। दिस इनकम टैक्स इज एज इट इज, एंड स्टिल person who are earning the income are supposed to pay the income tax to the government of India. Now let's talk about the state government's power to levy the tax. इसमें सबसे important जो टैक्स था that was sales tax. सेल ऑफ गुड्स के ऊपर जो टैक्स लगाया जाता था डिफरेंट गवर्नमेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के द्वारा, that was sales tax. It was also known as VAT, that is the value added tax. So suppose this is a state, ये एक स्टेट है, और इस स्टेट में अगर कोई भी गुड्स सेल होते हैं तो ऐसे केस में इसके ऊपर सेल्स टैक्स लगता था जिसका नाम था वैट। विद इन द स्टेट अगर कोई भी गुड्स सेल होते थे तो वैट लगता था, एंड दिस वैट वाज सपोज्ड टू बी पेड टू द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट। अगेन हियर यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग, इफ देयर वाज अ इंटर स्टेट सेल, यानी दो स्टेट्स के बीच में अगर कोई सेल होती थी तो ऐसे केस में जो सेल्स टैक्स लगता था उसका नाम था सेंट्रल सेल्स टैक्स। सेंट्रल सेल्स टैक्स इज बेसिकली, ये जो सीएसटी लगता था ये सेंटर के एक्ट के थ्रू लगता था। इट वॉज कलेक्टेड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एंड इट वॉज यूज्ड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट। तो अगर कोई गुड्स सेल होते थे एक स्टेट से दूसरी स्टेट में तो उसके ऊपर सीएसटी लगता था, बट सीएसटी वाज रिटेन्ड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, लेविड एंड रिटेन्ड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, ऑल्दो सीएसटी was levied through the center, but it was retained by the state government. Now, after the emergence of GST, both these VAT as well as CST will be subsumed by the GST. So there will be no more VAT except for few things that we will discuss later on. CST will not be there and VAT will not be there. Instead of that, there will be one single GST tax system. Second power to levy the tax was the tax on agriculture income. We are not discussing it here because it has got nothing to do with the GST. Normally agriculture income के ऊपर state government के पास power है tax लगाने की, but majority of state government, if you see, they don't levy the tax on agriculture income, although they have got power. Then come the entry tax. Entry tax means whenever any good enter into the territory of any state, तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट उसके ऊपर एंट्री टैक्स लगाती थी जिसको बोला जाता था ऑक्ट्रॉय। और ये जो ऑक्ट्रॉय ड्यूटी है, this is also replaced by the GST. It is subsumed by the GST. So there will be no more entry tax, no more octroi. It will be replaced by a single tax system called GST. Now there are other powers also rest with the center and state to levy the different kinds of tax, but we are not going to discuss each and every here. We have discussed just majority of tax levying power of central and state. Now if we can recap, the service tax has gone, it has been replaced by the GST. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पे एक्साइज लगती थी वो भी रिप्लेस हो गया है जीएसटी से। इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट इंटैक्ट है, बट जो एडिशनल और स्पेशल एडिशनल ड्यूटी लगती थी इन ल्यू ऑफ एक्साइज एंड सेल्स टैक्स वो रिमूव हो गई है और जीएसटी से रिप्लेस हो गई। इनकम टैक्स इज इंटैक्ट एज इट इज, उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं, इनकम टैक्स आज भी लगता रहेगा। इसी तरह से स्टेट के जो लेवी है, टैक्स लेवी, सेल ऑफ गुड एक्ट जो वैट लगता था और सीएसटी लगता था उसकी जगह अब जीएसटी आ गया है। एग्रीकल्चर इनकम के एज इट इज जो भी टैक्स लगाना चाहती है गवर्नमेंट लगा सकती है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं। एंट्री लेवल टैक्स जो ऑक्ट्रा है वो भी रिप्लेस हो गया है विथ जीएसटी। Now let's see the system of taxation with a different angle. There are two types of taxes, we can say. One is direct tax and another is indirect tax. Now first let's talk about the direct tax. In case of a direct tax, the person on whom the tax is levied pays the tax as well as bear the burden of that tax. इसका मतलब ये जो burden है टैक्स का ये किसी और पर्सन के ऊपर पास ऑन नहीं कर सकता। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, income tax is a direct tax. Income tax is levied on a person and that person himself is required to pay the tax and bear the burden of that tax. Similarly, there were two more direct taxes which were prevalent in the India, but now they have been abolished. One was gift tax. It was abolished long back, and recently the wealth tax has also been abolished. So the major direct tax which is present in India today is the income tax. On the other hand, in case of indirect tax, the person on whom it is levied may pass on the burden of tax to another person. That person can pass on this burden to another person. So final burden of indirect tax is borne by the consumer. If we see the major indirect taxes, first comes the excise duty, that is on manufacture. Then comes the sales tax, which covers the VAT and the CST, that is central sales tax. Then comes the custom duty, that is on import and export. Then comes the other indirect taxes such as octroi duty, that is for the entry in any state. If you enter the goods, you have to pay the octroi duty. There are some other small taxes of indirect, like entertainment tax, which was levied on cinema halls. Then luxury tax, which was levied on luxurious hotel room booking. And there were some other small indirect tax as well. Now, if we talk about the GST, the majority of indirect tax, I am saying majority. So as you are already aware, main custom duty is intact, but there is additional custom duty like CVD and special additional duty of custom. These has been replaced by the GST. So majority of indirect taxes have been replaced by a single tax system called GST. Further, you have to note it here, this GST is the biggest tax reform of India ever. So what it has done, there are several indirect taxes which were present in India, like excise duty, sales tax. There were some small indirect taxes, and there were some special duties or additional duties of customs that has been replaced by a single tax system known as GST, that the full form is goods and service tax. So goods and service tax is basically an indirect tax which has absorbed so many other existing indirect taxes. So GST has simplified the tax structure of India. Earlier, a businessman were supposed to do the registration under different act like Excise Act, separate registration, sales tax, separate registration. Then service tax, there was a separate registration. We have missed the service tax here, indirect tax. So all these taxes, there were separate registration, separate assessment, separate return, separate records. So all these have been replaced by a single system of tax called GST. So GST is very advanced system of taxation, and it is fully computerized system of taxation where the registration can be done online, records can be maintained online, returns can be submitted online, assessment is a self-assessment and it will be done automatically through online system. So as far as compliance of the tax law is concerned, it has become very simple as compared to earlier taxation system. Now let's talk about the GST taxation. GST taxation is a tax on supply. So supply is very important word in GST. Whenever there will be a supply of goods or services or both, GST will be attracted. So GST कब लगेगा? Whenever there is a supply of goods or services or both. So instead of concept of manufacturing, sale or services, there is one concept, that is the supply of goods and services, and this supply will attract the GST. So let's see what exactly means by the supply of goods or services. We have to understand the goods. Basically, the goods comprises of material, labor charges, overhead, that is so many other charges, and the profit of the person, and finally the price of the goods comes into picture. On the other hand, if we talk about the supply of services, there is no major material involved in case of services. There will be labor charges, there can be other overheads, there will be profit portion, and finally the price of that service will come into picture. GST is also called as a destination-based tax system. It means wherever the goods or services will move, the GST will be applicable. So for example, goods moves from A to B, then this is treated as supply and GST will be attracted. B to C, again GST will be applicable. C to D, again GST will be applicable. And if it comes back to from D to A, again GST will be applicable. Another thing which you have to note about GST, it is a value added tax. It means whenever the value of the goods which are moving, goods or services which are moving increases, the tax will be levied on that value which has been so increased. And there is a system of set off also. So these two things you have to understand carefully. That is the value added tax, and there is a system of set off. For example, there is a person M who is the manufacturer of the goods, and the price of the goods which he has manufactured is 1000 rupees, and he supply these goods to the dealer. Now these goods have been supplied to the dealer, the tax will be applicable. Suppose the tax rate, we are just taking one example, tax GST rate is 10%. So what manufacturer will do, he will add 100 rupees as GST to the price, and finally he will recover 1100 from the dealer. And not only he will recover 100 rupees of GST, the manufacturer will deposit this 100 rupees of GST to the government. Now suppose this dealer supplies these goods to the retailer for 1500 rupees. Now 1500 rupees, if he is supplying these goods to the retailer, again the dealer will recover 150 rupees, that is 10% of 1500 as GST from the retailer. So the total amount recovered by the dealer will be 1650. But now the dealer is supposed to deposit this 150 rupees to the government, but there is a system of set off. As the dealer has already made a payment of GST of 100 rupees to the manufacturer, he will deduct out of 150 rupees tax liability, he will deduct the GST already paid by the dealer to the government through manufacturer. So 100 rupees dealer has already paid the GST. So he will deduct 100 rupees and 50 rupees, the balance, he will deposit to the government as the GST. Whenever we deduct the earlier payment of GST, it is called the set off provision. So here the person who has already paid any GST while receiving the goods, he can take the credit of that payment and he will deduct this credit from the GST liability which arises him while supplying these goods further to other person. This system of set off, you can also call it as input tax credit. Input tax credit he can take and can very well adjust it with the liability of GST while supplying the goods. Now let's see, this retailer who has received these goods has supplied these goods to the final consumer who has used these goods. Now suppose this retailer has supplied these goods at 2000 rupees, then he will have to recover 10% as GST from this consumer. So the total recovery will be 2200 rupees he will collect from the consumer. Now out of this liability of 200 rupees of GST, since the retailer has already paid 150 GST while receiving the goods, he will deduct 150 rupees of GST from 200 rupees of liability as an input tax credit, and the balance of 50 rupees will be deposited by him to the government. Now this is called the system of value added tax along with the input tax credit. Now if we analyze this case, the total revenue in the form of GST received by the government is 200 rupees, and the final price at which it was supplied to the consumer was 2000. So government wanted to recover 10% as GST. So government has recovered this 10% of 2000 as GST at different tax points. First, it has received 100 rupees from the manufacturer, then 50 rupees from the dealer, and then 50 rupees from the retailer. So there is no loss of revenue to the government. Further thing you have to note that there is no cascading effect. There is no cascading effect का मतलब है there is no tax on tax, since the system allows the credit of input tax paid while receiving the goods. There is no cascading effect. There is no tax on tax. So you can see that tax is levied on the value addition. First it was levied on 1000, then there was 1500, then there was 2000 rupees. So if we talk about the value addition, manufacturer has sold this item to the dealer for 1000, and 10% of 1000 comes 100 rupees. 100 rupees was deposited by the manufacturer to the government. Then dealer has sold this to the retailer for 1500 rupees. So there was a value addition of 500 rupees, 1000 to 1500. And 10% of 500, that is 50 rupees. This 50 rupees was deposited by dealer to the government as a GST. Then further, if we see from retailer to final consumer, the retailer has sold these goods to the consumer for 2000. So again, there was a value addition of 500 rupees. 500 ka 10% if you take, 50 rupees was deposited by retailer to the government as the GST on value addition. So the three important things which you have to note down in case of GST: first, it is a destination based. Second, it is value addition tax system. As the value increases, tax also increases. And there is a system of input tax credit. Whatever GST you have already paid while getting those goods, you can adjust that GST paid towards your final liability of GST. Now let's talk about the GST Act. There is no single GST Act. Basically, GST is comprised of these 5 acts. First act is Central GST Act 2017. This is the main act. Then there are respective acts of the state government known as State GST Act 2017. So there are various state governments, they have passed their own state GST acts. Third is UTGST, that is Union Territory GST Act 2017, applicable for union territories. Then there is the Integrated GST Act 2017, which will be applicable whenever there is an interstate supply of goods or services. Whenever goods or services are supplied from one state to another state, IGST will be levied. And lastly, there is another act called GST Compensation to States Act 2017. Because of the applicability of GST system, there will be cases where few state government may lose their revenue from the tax. So this act is passed to compensate those states which may lose revenue because of the applicability of GST. So now let's again see GST. There are two main components, Central GST and second is State GST. So whenever there is a supply of goods or services within a state, that is called intra-state supply of goods and services, the GST will be applicable, will be CGST plus SGST. So there is a dual system of GST, which will be applicable for all the supplies within the state. Further, as we have already seen, whenever there is an interstate supply of goods or services, there will be GST, the name of which is integrated GST, that will be applicable on interstate supply of goods or services. Now, if we talk about the union territories, any goods or services supplied within the union territories, there will be two types of GST. One is CGST and the second will be UTGST. Instead of SGST, there will be UGST in case of supply of goods and services within the union territory. Now, another important thing you have to note that whether this UTGST will be applicable for all the union territories. So answer is no. There are total 7 union territories in India, but out of these 7, there are 2 union territories which are having their own legislature. So these are Delhi and Puducherry. So in case of Delhi and Puducherry, there are their own state legislature and they have passed their own state GST. And in case of remaining 5 union territories, there will be CGST and UTGST. So let's talk about the union territories in detail. There are total 7 union territories. First is Chandigarh, second is Dadra Nagar Haveli, तीसरा है दमन दीव, fourth Lakshadweep, then fifth is Puducherry, sixth Delhi, and seventh Andaman Nicobar Island. So as you can see that fifth and sixth, that is Puducherry and Delhi, these 2 union territories having their own legislature, so they have passed their own state GST law. It means whenever goods or services are supplied within Puducherry or Delhi territory, then the GST applicable on such supply of goods or services will be CGST and state GST, that is SGST. But as far as supply of goods within the union territories, that is other 5 union territories, the GST applicable will be CGST plus UTGST. So you can also assume that for the purpose of GST, Puducherry and Delhi will be treated as separate state and the respective state SGST will be applicable. Now we can see the list of states who have passed their GST acts, respective state GST acts. All the states have passed their respective state GST law except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So the state of Jammu and Kashmir is still to pass its own GST act. Another thing which you can note that almost all the states have passed their GST law properly. Only the West Bengal and the Kerala, these states have passed the GST law through ordinance, that is using the emergency power. They have passed this GST law through ordinance. West Bengal has passed the ordinance on 15th of June 2017, whereas Kerala has passed GST law through ordinance on 21st of June 2017. And the last but not the least thing which you have to note it down, that the applicability of GST, the effective date of GST is 1st of July 2017. So GST has been implemented, applicable from 1st July 2017 and onwards. It took almost 17 years from the date of inception to the date of applicability. That is 2000. In year 2000, the work of GST started in India, and on 1st July 2017, finally, it became the reality. Now, there are various aspects of a GST like registration under GST, filing of return under GST, the tax rates of GST, assessment. All these we are going to see in detail in our lectures.